Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. 1229. I appreciate it. Cool. And I am going to grab... I thought I'd turn that off. All right. I am going to grab some of these scripts today. What we are doing today on stream is I'm reading those who wrote a script. I'm going to make a new folder here. New folder. Let's do live stream screenplays. We'll do one more. No. All right. Hello. Welcome in as I'm getting this started, guys. I'm going to share my screen, but there's nothing really happening right now. Just this welcome. But I'll make sure you can see that. I am going to download some of these. If you're in the Discord now, let's see, are we live? We should be on YouTube. Cool. If you're in the Discord now and you had a short and you didn't submit it, do so now. Perfect. I'm seeing 2 screenplays so far, which is excellent. That already gives us lots of stuff to read. All right. Cool. All right, again, if you wrote a draft, if you're in the Discord or if you're on YouTube, hop in the Discord and you can send it to me. It may also be, hold on. Let me grab this Gmail, see if I still have it on this computer, if I can log in. I have a Gmail you may be able to send this to that I used for the old reading scripts live streams. And I think it's still active. Let's see. We'll do this. Okay. There's probably going to be a little bit of setup on today's stream, guys, so settle in. I'm just going to try to gather, if I can gather even like 4 or 5 short scripts, that will be plenty to do. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I think I can get in here. No, I don't want to add or cover information. Not now. Not now. Okay. So if you are watching on the YouTube stream right now, I see we've got 23 concurrent viewers on my screen. You did write a draft and you don't want to get into the Discord. Submit your draft to readingscriptslive@gmail.com. So I was able to log in. If you wrote a draft from the last live stream that we did, then send it to this email. Can I just like unread all these? Yeah. Send it to this email right here. This should be on your screen now. Let me make sure that's up. Yeah. Cool. And then as of now, I also have 2 actual scripts downloaded. So let me grab these. Oops. Okay. This one. No, I don't want to. Wait, let me just do that. Perfect. Okay. So here's one script. It is 21 pages long, called Simple Harmony. by Anshuman. And then we also have Mulligan, rough draft by Daniel Eaton. 31 pages coming in. Excellent. So we have at least 2 today for sure, which is perfect. Thank you guys for doing it the right way, as I asked. But this is also a lot easier, so I'm glad I got this back up. And I'm glad I still have this email. Isn't that great? Isn't it awesome how like things really work out if you just let it flow? Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to wait for just a little while on this. If you did write a script, you can submit it there. So I'll write this above it. If you wrote a script based on last week's outline, submit here. That'll just be the easiest way to do it going forward. Obviously, you can join the Discord as well, linked below this video, and linked below this live stream. And then that is the simplest way to send me your script PDF. Okay, I'm going to give everybody just like a couple of minutes just to see if we get any more documents in, because I know I just started up the stream. It's only been 10 minutes. I don't want to rush everybody. So I just want to leave this up for a moment and have people come in. I'm not seeing any chat in the live chat. I think we're still live. Hello, everybody, if you're watching on YouTube. Looks like I see 33 concurrent viewers. Say hello if you're in the chat. And I'm going to grab a water, come right back, and then we will definitely get into these 2 screenplays. Let me also, before I go get a water, let me pull up the outline from last week as well, so that we are fully reminded of the script we are working on. Man Fakes Death Idea. That's what it was called. Yep. This one. Okay, so last week, if you were here, you should remember we worked on this idea. The man fakes death idea. A guy with 6 kids and crippling debt discovers a dark web service that helps you fake your death and give you a new life. However, person he knows catches on. He soon sees the damage to his family and questions his choice. This was our starting point. And then we built this out to a full outline down here. Here it was. We got 125. So you should be able to see this. This was the entire outline. You can see the scenes. You can see exactly what we were going for here. So if you weren't here last stream, or if you haven't watched the recording, you want to get up to date on what story are these 2 short script drafts supposed to be, it's this idea here. This was the basic skeleton framework outline that we started with. We got it down to a basic scene to scene outline, and now we will see how these writers took this story. All right, let me grab some water. I will be right back. Hey, John, I see you in the Discord. Hey, Christian. Awesome. Hey, Zav16. Farcom, what's up? Deuce Deuce, good to see you. Just Nobody. Spiritual OGKBE, peace to you as well. The Godfather, let's begin, boss. Aural, hi, I have a complete idea of a TV show and I started to write the script. What is the process after writing the whole thing? What is the process after writing? Well, you shouldn't be thinking about the process after writing something that hasn't been written now, should you? All right. Let me see if there's any more scripts that came into the email. Okay. No. All good. Great. We will start with the 2 scripts that we were given. Hello, Stephanie. Let me move the YouTube chat so I can see it easier. I like it over here. Hey there, Eustace. Good to see you. Okay. Let's dive into these 2 drafts. So is the writer here? Anshuman, I believe this is an Indian guy. Are you here? Let me know if you are. But either way, we're going to dive in here and see what he's got. So again, this is kind of the idea, right? What we had before, just to remind you of the big story circle beats right before we dive in. Again, they can take this any way they want. This was their starting point. We will see how closely they held to it or how far they moved away. Stephanie's asking, Tyler, you mentioned last week's lecture, outlining the script. Where is it? So all of the YouTube lectures, all the YouTube live lectures at all times will be available actually on the youtube.com/Tyler Mowery on the live tab. youtube.com/Tyler Mowery. Just put this over here. And then this live tab. You see that right by videos, live tab. Go there and you will see the previous live streams. Okay. So, overwhelmed man wants to escape his life. 3, inciting problem. He discovers this dark web service. Really, the inciting problem is more like this, if I want to get nitpicky. Our slimy investor, debt collector, wants his money. He's threatening this man, plus the opportunity of finding the dark web service. So then our main character chooses to fake his death. Goal achieved, he fakes his death, his family mourns, but then surprise problem, his son and the investor or debt collector comes after him, and then we get a final climactic scene. The son finds him. What does the father do? So this was our outline. Let's see what we have in simple harmony. Interior, insurance office, day. Martin is a 25-year-old man, slender, long, thin man, sitting in an office. The office is lit by a few highly bright tube lights and covered with multitudes of gray-colored cubicles. In front of Martin sits a 50-year-old Thomas, wearing a striped blue tie on a bluish-gray shirt, sitting on a wheelchair, going through papers and documents and folders and more. Martin sits quietly with a folder in his hands. He doesn't say anything except sitting quietly, waiting for Thomas to notice. Thomas marks a few lines in a file, cross-references in another before sipping the last sip of green tea he left in the cup. He looks at the cup, noticing it empty. He looks around. Okay. Thomas finally looks at Martin. He looks at him with tired gaze and around the back again. Voice loud says, "Hey, green tea." Thomas again looks back at his desk and continues his work. "Yes, sir. What again?" "Sir, my father, we recently held his funeral." "I'm extremely sorry to hear that, sir." "Okay, here we go. Here's our concept." Thomas then closes a few files and puts the cap on his pen. He puts his hands on the desk and looks closely at Martin. "So were you here for insurance?" Martin passes the file to Thomas. "Yes, sir." "Cool. How did he die?" "I have all the documents in that file and all the paperwork attached. He died by burns." "Burns? All right." Thomas takes a close look at the file. "So he burnt by fire and died, is that right?" "Yes." How was identification done? Thomas looks at Martin. Identification? Identification is necessary. Necessary for what? For everything. Funeral and insurance included. You mean how we recognized? How you recognized the body, the identification. He had a few close, he wore some items that we used to identify him. Items? What exactly? Wedding ring, tie clip, more. Thomas looks back at the file and goes through more pages of it. Does the file have that too? I think it does. It should, really. It'll be surprising if it doesn't. All right. Thomas puts the file back at the table, closes it, and bends forward. Sir, can you give me your address and contact number? I'll contact you soon. Here. Right. Martin hands over a piece of tissue paper from his pocket with the address and phone number written in a gel pen. The ink has smudged over the tissue and absorbed the paper. The details are unreadable now. Thomas looks at Martin and puts the tissue paper under a paperweight. Thank you very much, and my condolences for your father's news. Thank you, and thank you. Martin gets up. He turns around, but hesitates before moving. Where's the washroom? Go by that hallway. Turn right. Right. Martin goes through the hallway. Thomas lands his back against the wheelchair in a tired gesture. Interior, Martin's house, later. Martin sits in his home on the sofa. The house is a mess, the toys lingering spread like garbage and furniture placed in weird positions. Martin's mother, Laura, an old 50-year-old woman, comes back from the kitchen and sits beside Martin on the sofa. Her eyes look down at the floor mat. Jimmy, a 16-year-old teenager, comes up to them. Mom. Can I have some money? No. Jimmy looks at Martin for a while, then turns back to Laura. Mom, can I have some money? Laura looks at Jimmy emotionless. She doesn't say anything. Why more? My friends have decided that we'll be going out for some time. Shopping and everything? Jimmy nods. I've already told you, call it off, or I'll call them and call it off. Okay, so we're 5 pages in right now, and I don't know. Okay, we'll keep going. Jimmy goes back to his room. Mom, don't take it so hard. Don't be so hard on him. You don't say that. Weren't you scolding him too? Mom, don't you know, or doesn't Jimmy know we fought a lot over money? Do I need to cry out this like I'm going right now? Martin looks at Laura intrigued. When did you fight? Every time before Christmas. Yes, this one. What did you fight over? I told my mom to come. She was coming. He said he couldn't spend more on anything. We had a fight. That's it. What else do you want? Mom, take. He was always going shopping. A knock is heard. Martin gets up. He walks to the door and opens it slightly. He sees 2 men standing in professional dress suit and pants. Martin opens the gate more. Yes? Sir, we are here from IFF Insurance. Oh, yeah, right. Please come in. Martin opens the gate full. Both enter in the house. The house is a mess, they notice. Laura tries to arrange the most she can in the least time. Laura arranges the sofas back perpendicularly. She removes the folds off of the curtains and picks up some fallen couches. She then puts the folded mat over the stains on the floor and stands near the entrance of the kitchen. The 2 men sit on the sofas next to each other. Martin closes the door and sits on the other sofa. Laura comes back and sits next to her. Jimmy comes out of his room. He sees the 2 men and stops moving. Laura, without saying anything, gives Jimmy a gesture by eyes to go back in the room. Jimmy doesn't look at her. He stands there. The 2 men don't say anything yet. They stare at Martin and Laura and Jimmy, switching gazes. Martin looks at Jimmy and tries to gesture him to go back. Jimmy looks at him but doesn't move. Laura intentionally coughs. Jimmy looks at her. Laura, with anger present in her brows, gestures him to go back to his room. Okay, we're doing a lot of standing and gesturing here. Everyone looks at everyone else now. Okay. Sir, we've got your file for insurance application, and we are sorry to hear about your loss, and we offer our condolences. Our main concern was that you mentioned that your father died by burning. But then how did you recognize him? Was his face burnt? I'm extremely sorry if these questions are disturbing, but please understand that this is just part of the standard procedure. Yeah, right. Well, his face was burnt. It was burnt badly. Was his face unrecognizable then? Yeah, it was. We couldn't tell. That's how badly he was burnt. Then how did you recognize the body? I'm sorry, was your father. We identified him by his personal belongings, the clothes he had, a tie piece. Not everyone today wears a tie piece. The wedding ring? Yes, right, the wedding ring. We identified by the wedding ring. Anything else? His clothes, the shirt he wore, the pants he wore, the shoes and socks, everything. We could immediately tell it was his. That was him. You did not do anything advanced? Any advanced identification method? Why? No, we identified him. We identified him the way we told you right now. Sir, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that it's not material enough. Martin and Laura look at each other, confused. Material? What do you mean, material enough? Sir, we need better proof that the body was of your father, certainly. These are not substantial enough to be presented. We need something concrete to say about the body. But what more is needed? We identified him. Mom, take it easy. But she's right. What more is needed now? DNA tests would suffice. Is our identification not enough? You tell me how many that day were wearing the same combination and brand and clothes that my dad was wearing. How many other people had tie pieces on their ties? How many of them had the same one? How many of them had the same wedding ring? Sir, please calm down. We cannot do anything until we have substantial proof. I am substantial proof. My mother and her 5 other children are substantial proof. Our eyes are substantial proof. What more do you want? Sir, we will contact you soon. Wait, what happened now? No, that is substantial proof. I gave you proof and you refused. Laura tries to calm him down. Take it easy. Take it easy. The 2 men go out. They leave the door open. Martin looks at Laura. He breaks down. He cries hard. Laura also tears up. She starts crying. Jimmy in his room lies motionless, but is still sad and quiet. Interior insurance office later. Martin is back at the office. He roams around the cubicles, turning right and left, looking all around for Thomas. He looks around from afar and he finds him. Martin rushes to him. He's being confronted by a group of ladies walking at a steady pace towards him. They look at him weirdly. Martin slows down and lets them pass by. Martin then rushes again to Thomas. He stops himself suddenly in front of his desk. Thomas looks up with intrigued eyes. Sir, I think you are... I met you, I think. I am Martin. Please, sit down here. Please take a glass of water. No, I'm all right. Are you all right? Yes, I'm all right. What happened? I did send over some people to your address I found in the file. What were they saying? Are they not out of their minds? They don't trust me, so they do. Okay, so now the story... we'll see. Okay, I like the idea that we've essentially had one big choice so far. Okay, we're 10 pages in, and the big problem is the insurance is not paying out after this person died. So I think that's good, right? That's essentially our inciting incident, but let's see if we can move past that beat to continue the story forward. So we're 10 pages or 9 pages into this story. Okay, we have our inciting problem. Insurance is not paying out after this man's death. Now let's see if the story is going to stall, or let's see if there can be some progress made. That is what I'm looking for now as we go forward. I told him everything they're saying about a DNA test. How do I conduct a effing DNA test after his funeral? Send some real people. Sir, trust me. They're experienced guys. I sent them. Think like me. I know you have suffered a bit, and still I sent those too. I must have thought of something, right? I did. They aren't bad guys. It's just that we are employees, need to work. The policy doesn't consider your evidence. What are you saying? I won't lie. I'm hiding him in some bunker. Of course you're not, sir, but just like I'm understanding your case, understand mine. Try to understand. We need to prove that the body was your father's. You don't understand. Your father is alive, sir. Yes, he is. And you don't know. I have 5 brothers and my mother to support. Okay, we're still arguing. The problem is we're still arguing the same argument, right? This is what I'm saying where I'm looking for a progression in the story. Because you could literally, like, the actual argument that our main character, Martin, is giving is still the same exact argument we saw him give to the guys that went to him in a different scene. So now, I'm interested to see if there's a clear choice in this scene that actually pushes the story forward. So there are many people... They care about money when they cut my legs. You're a good guy. You got a family to feed. All of what you say, you can probably verify by your file. You got a family, 5 brothers and a mother. A dead father is a burden. He's also a lesson. Let it be a lesson. I too have a family to feed. I have work to do. This is the best for you, sir. Do the DNA test. I will try to provide it the fastest I can. Sir, what's the name of your father again? Patrick. Okay. So they're saying do the DNA test. I think that's the decision for him to do the DNA test. It's so good. It does feel like so much dialogue. You know, especially because we've already had that big, massive argument. We have that big, massive dialogue chunk twice. It's like it feels very same note. But interior Patrick's room. Martin's house 2 weeks ago. Patrick sits at the computer. It is night. The whole room is dark with no lights on. A lamp by the side of the desk is lit, along with the bright screen of the computer. He's chatting with someone with the username IGLAF. Patrick types, "I don't want to die." That'll be more. What? I never agreed to dying. I'll need more payment. I'm already out of everything. How can you be so broke? I am, regrettably. About $100 more. Why do you use an about? Why do you care how much exactly? I don't have that much. Why now? There's no why. I just don't. Okay, so this is just believability. So clearly he's talking to our dark web, our dark web character with this scene. I think this is our father talking to the dark web character, which is good. The dialogue just doesn't read very believably like this. I don't believe that two people are having a conversation. Which again, I think it's the right scene. It's just rewriting it to get the believability level right. And part of this is like, I don't think this is on Schumann's first language, which again is okay. But this would be dialogue polishing here to make sure that this actually worked. Because, again, just like a film is trying to get you to believe the image that you're being shown in a script, it's all about the believability of the writing and the believability of the dialogue, right? Like, some people it's like authenticity or that kind of thing. It's really about believability, right? Does the audience believe that you are, have you really created the visual image in their mind of these characters doing what you're saying they're doing, right? They have to believe that, and that believability is hearing them, and this just doesn't really read believable, but I'm going to continue reading. So you're too broke, man, leave it. No, please, let me die. I just don't want to die. What'll you do if you live, even, for that matter? I got a family to feed. You got a good elder son. He can earn for sure. What happened? You don't respond. Please reduce the price. Okay. So this is just... I understand the argument here. He wants to pay less money for the dark web service. Well, this dialogue is just real rough. Take it, you pay 50, that's it. No. Okay, I'll do it. Okay, so he's paying the guy. He's doing the dark web service. Okay, now we're back to the present. Interior, somewhere in the winter wilderness presently. Patrick is sleeping, wearing over a rugged piece of blanket to cover him. Okay, so this is our father character, is Patrick. He then wakes up suddenly, opening his eyes in a sudden moment, very wide. He looks around and gets up. He yawns. He rubs his eyes and stands up. He looks around but finds the place desolate. It is a wooden house in a wintry landscape. Patrick, wearing a leather jacket, he wanders around the house. He finds a man wearing another leather jacket, sipping coffee. This is Iglaf. How are you today? Work waits for you outside. At least let me freshen up, Kenny. Kenny? I'm sorry, sir. It waits for you. Patrick goes for the bathroom by turning right into the hallway. Halfway through it, he stops. Can I know how my family's doing? That shouldn't matter, really, should it? It's my family. I ought to know. You do, but I cannot risk privacy for your satisfaction. It's been over a month. They would have probably forgotten about you. Forgotten your death and move on. That's shit. Huh? You said something. That's shit. I ought to know about my family. As I said, you do. And why do you even... Okay, so these scenes... Hold on. Why do you have... Then why do you even have a problem with that? I know that you are always in the danger of being caught by the police, so that means you must have information about every point of risk. You know about my family currently. You know what they're doing right now. You know what they're going through right now. And if they're worse off without me, I must get back to them. Kenny takes a sip. Patrick calms down. Okay. So what's interesting about this is that what's interesting is this story, this version of the events, is focusing on our eldest son in the beginning, right? So we get the setup with the eldest son, then we flash back to what is essentially the inciting problem or the inciting incident of the story, where we see what the father did. Now, that's an interesting way to try it, but I do think you are really losing the setup as to why the father does the dark web service in the first place. So if we don't see him as the overwhelmed man, then we don't understand why he's making this choice. why he chooses to fake his death in this sort of thing. So you're kind of doing this in this sort of non-linear form where we're not actually focused on our main character. Because I really think, or at least the central character, is he the hero of the story? Maybe not. He might be the villain. But our central character is this overwhelmed man. Our central character is the person who is going to fake his death. So, starting with the son gets us a setup for what the son is dealing with, in the sense of, okay, he has to deal with the insurance companies, he's got to do this other stuff, and that's all well and good, and it, we can even have that, but I think showing this initial setup where we see this man who hates his current existence and wants to escape it, that gives us this kind of back and forth, and you can even have the eldest son in that opening scene, and so then now you're setting both sides up for them to meet. So yeah, let's continue. Yes, I do. I know everything, almost everything, but I don't know whom your wife is cheating with, if she is. Hey, I never said that she did. I gave you a possibility. Let that be. I don't know how good your kids are doing in school, if they're vaping with the other kids. Patrick stands motionless. I don't know these things. Are you serious about my kid? Do these things, do they? I don't know. I said, yeah, this dialogue is, the dialogue is just really not ringing true for me in the script. And what are we arguing about here, really? Oh, just that he wants to be told about his family. So being told about his family isn't really an argument about an actual action. It's more like more of an argument about a fake action. So let's see what happens at the end of this scene. Okay, so he's choosing to go home. Weird. Okay. Kenny returns with a gun in his hands. Okay, so they argue, and then Patrick says he's going to leave, and then Kenny returns with a gun in his hands, pointing it at Patrick. Patrick is still smiling, though not as much. You agreed to it, Kenny, you did. Kenny, how dare you speak my name? Patrick runs for the door. Kenny follows soon afterwards. Patrick opens it and runs away. He runs into the wintry, snow-covered wilderness. Kenny stops moving ahead of the door. He lowers his gun. I will make sure to get back all my money, you bloody... Kenny gets back in. He throws his gun down on the floor. He smiles a bit, then turns that smile into a forced grin on himself by pulling his cheeks. His face shows anger on himself. Have a good life, you wish. Okay. Interior, Martin's house, a week later. Martin sits in his home on the sofa. The house is a mess, with toys lingering, spread like garbage, and furniture placed in weird positions. Laura comes back from the kitchen, and it's exactly like it says before. Laura comes back from the kitchen and sits beside Martin on the sofa. Her eyes look down at the floor mat. You sent the samples? I did. When will we get the report? They said that it'll take about a week, and we still don't have it. I don't know what happened. They just were supposed to call. I just went there, and they said they'll just call us. The bell rings. Martin gets up and opens the door. A freeze-frame montage starts. Martin looks. It is Patrick standing. He opens the door and hugs him. Patrick feels very happy. Patrick gets inside. Laura hugs Patrick hard. They all sit down on the sofa. Jimmy comes out of his room and looks at Patrick. He runs towards Patrick and falls in his lap. He hugs Patrick. Laura gets emotional. They talk about something, but it isn't audible. They get astonished. Sometimes laugh, sometimes hug repeatedly. Laura gets up and walks to the kitchen. She brings some water. A phone rings. Martin picks it up. Sir, we have prepared the DNA test report. How would you like to collect it? We know the report. Cool. I like that line. Martin looks back at Patrick, Laura, and Jimmy sitting on both sides of him. The camera looks at them through the over-the-shoulder view with Martin's smile visible. Freeze frame. Text appears. He lost money. He couldn't repay the insurance company. Thomas couldn't help. His children couldn't attend school. His family was harassed by Kenny. Okay, what is this? No money to move out. He suffered a lot immediately, but the world moved on, and he earned better over time. The text clears up, new text appears, and at least he had his family. Screen cuts black, a white light shines, it pours through, it covers the whole screen. The title in black appears, Simple Harmony. Cool. Good work on Schumann. So, I like this. I think it definitely needs some honing in on the dialogue a lot. I also think I like how you end it. You go the route of super happy ending. Everything goes well. Now, here's the thing though. You never really, couldn't repay the insurance company. This is kind of a weird thing with the insurance people. I feel like the insurance company people were kind of strange in this story. Maybe there's some deepening of how that works. And also, I really do think that if you were going to do some rewrites, I would add these pieces in for Patrick. Like, I think at the very beginning of the story. Because if we don't get this set up right here, it's very hard for us to get the motivation going forward. So then when we go into your initial scene, how you have it now, when we go into your initial scene of this, Martin is the, and now we're saying Martin is the child that we saw, or the son that we saw in this opening scene. Well, now we have a much clearer understanding of what's happening in this scene. The motivation's a lot clearer, and then you just start your story on a much better foot. So this is why this base setup is super important. And a lot of times we feel like we have to rush and we have to start at our inciting problem. We've got to start at the problem or nobody's going to be interested in this. But the issue with that is if you just start with a problem without understanding the motivation for the problem, then we're just kind of out in nowheresville and we don't have the emotional context to move forward. But if we start with this emotional context of this overwhelmed man who's trying to hang on but doesn't like his life and he's looking for this escape and he has the creditors down his neck, and then suddenly he meets this dark web guy who can help him fake his death. Okay, well, boom, now we can jump forward and start with the eldest son, and you can play more non-linearly from there. But the very, very beginning setup needs to happen at the very, very beginning, or we just get lost. But good work. I really like this. And again, if you're listening now and you want to continue to hear this over and over, go back to the recording. I can leave this up. You can kind of go back through it multiple times, hear my specific notes on different scenes. But big picture, I actually really like this. Hopefully I don't sound like I'm being too harsh. Big picture, I like this. I think there's some dialogue I don't love, and some other things. But I have notes, of course. But I really like this. I think you wrote a strong draft here. Good work, sir. Okay, so I see people asking. If you want to, submit a script here. Of what we had written before. I'm not just taking random scripts. I'm taking specifically this idea. The problem with taking random scripts is that y'all really write some stupid stuff, and then I end up reading some extra hot garbage. Sometimes I can do that, but it also can be pretty frustrating because I feel like we need to do clear writing exercises, not just first thought ideas. So if you have a script that is based on this idea that we worked on from the previous live stream, toss it in to this email right here, readingscriptslive@gmail.com. Stephanie says, Tyler, it seems to me there's a lot of unnecessary overwriting in dialogue that endlessly drags on without diving in information or giving information or showing character traits. Yes, I do think so. I think the dialogue in this script is definitely overwritten and not towards as... So what's good is there are clear choices being made at the ends of the scenes. Most of them at least, which is good. Right? We need that choice at the end of the scene. But yes, I think they are going way too long. A lot of these scenes, look how long this scene is. This is running, let's see, 1 full page, 2 full pages, and then on to 3. You can do some of this a lot faster. This definitely could be a 12-page to 15-page script. And I try not to get... You'll have to... Whatever. I'll just give whatever notes I want to give at different points, because like we could of course go into polishing and sentence structure over and over and over again. But I'm just going to pick my points on that, because I think this is going to be how I want to do these streams. We like work on an idea, write it, look at the written drafts. Work on an idea, write it, look at the written drafts. I think that's going to be really, really productive. And it gives us some very clear examples to go off of, rather than me solely talking about theory from stream to stream. Stephanie, there are a lot of repetitious and ineffectual verbs in the script. The reason I'm not looking at that as harshly is I'm about 95% sure this is not the writer's first language. And so again, what I am trying to do is separate story from diction or word choice, in the sense of I don't love the dialogue here, and there's certain sentences I'm not a perfect fan of. However, the story is legible enough to where I think this is a good starting point, right? Can these sentences be more clearly honed in? 100%. But that only happens once we have the right sentence expressing the right story beat in the right place. Then we can work on making sure that sentence is perfect. But first and foremost, we've got to make sure we actually have a story that's working. So Stephanie, what I'm going to do for another exercise is we are going to, next one will be another creative brainstorming story outlining live stream. So we'll do another outline. We'll start with a blank page, just like we did last week. And then we will brainstorm a story idea together. I'll get an outline, and then I'll send you off to write it. All right. So this is the long one here. Daniel Eaton. Let's read Mulligan. Interior living room, night. Ronnie, Donnie, Bonnie, Lonnie, and Johnny Cosley, all 8 years old, wreak havoc in the cramped living room. Ronnie runs back and forth screaming with a pair of underwear on his head. Johnny and Donnie throw candy canes at each other. Bonnie crawls under the bare Christmas tree. Lonnie bounces up and down on the sofa. Russell Cosley, 45, also sits on the sofa, jolting with each bounce. He has a flip phone on one ear and a finger jammed into the other. Say that again, I can't hear you. Russell focuses on the phone through the chaos. So the sales from last week don't go into this report? Ronnie stops right in front of his dad with a blank stare and screams for no reason. Ah! I gotta run. My phone is gonna run out of minutes. Yeah, I'll have it done by tomorrow. Bye. Russell shuts the phone and stares motionless at Ronnie, who stares back, still screaming. Dinner! Knock, knock, knock. Russell, door! Russell sighs. He removes a flash drive and shuts his laptop. He places the flash drive on the coffee table. See, we are getting our overwhelmed man. Good work so far. Interior, dining room, night. Russell sits at the table staring straight ahead as the 5 kids around him spew noise. So, Dad, how's work been? Emmett Cosley, 25, and his girlfriend sit at the other end of the table. Lonnie flings a plate across the table and it shatters into the wall. Russell doesn't even acknowledge. It's going great. Claudia Cosley, 42, enters and sets a large bowl onto the table. So sorry for the wait. Everything just finished. Thank you, Ma. Well, I'm just happy both could come celebrate with us. Ah! Ronnie, inside scream, please. Ah! Russell plops a pile of gray mush from the bowl onto his plate. He stares at it. His phone buzzes on the table. The caller screen says, Mr. Fisher. Russell quickly picks it up. Sorry, can't talk now. I'm out of minutes. Russell shuts the phone. Knock, knock, knock. Who could that be? She goes to the entryway and opens the door to 3 British men in suits. Is Russell here? Russell hears and jumps to the entryway. Ah, there you are. Who is this? Let's talk outside, gentlemen. It's okay. I'll be right back. Exterior, Clausey townhouse. Night, continuous. Mr. Fisher and Russell stand at the end of the driveway. Ronnie's faint screaming inside can be heard. I know I said I would have it today. I need more time. Fisher pulls a Tic Tac container from his pocket. When I say I want my money today, I mean today. I know. Just look, I got my family here for the holidays. Fisher gulps the Tic Tacs and sighs. Tomorrow. He pulls the folded up paper from his pocket and hands it to Russell. He pats Russell on the shoulder and walks to a black Cadillac parked in the street. The two men follow. Nice. Merry Christmas. Tell your kid to stop screaming. The car peels off. Russell opens the sack and sees a picture of a man with a bloodied face. His mouth drops open. Nice. Good scene object at the end here. Interior, dining room, night, continuous. Russell enters the dining room. Bonnie wraps herself around his leg and starts pulling. Boing, boing, boing. The other four kids run around the table screaming. Who is that? Russell sees Johnny dropping something into a glass of milk. His flash drive. Russell's eyes get big. What are you doing? Russell rips the glass of milk and finds the dunked flash drive. Russell stares at the flash drive. All the kids run around him laughing. The volume reaches a fever pitch. That's enough! Silence. The kids shrink. The adults stare at Russell, shocked. Kids, why don't you go play in your rooms for a bit? The kids disappear quietly. Russell, what do you want? Who were they? Russell doesn't answer, but instead sits at the table. Russell, I owe them money. I have to pay by tomorrow. I knew it. How much, Russell? It doesn't matter. 3 men show to our house where our kids sleep demanding money after you swore you wouldn't borrow from people like that again? This needs to be shorter. Don't tell me it doesn't matter. Would you just stop? I'm going to figure it out. By getting your parents to bail you out again, you shut up. Hey, Dad, this doesn't concern you. Pop. All the power shuts off, leaving it pitch black. The 5 kids start screaming from the other room. Did you pay the power bill? No. Or maybe it should be quieter, right? 5 kids start screaming from the other room. Did you pay the power bill? No. Exterior, glossy townhouse, night. A generator hums in the yard. Russell sits on the porch with his head in his palm. He picks at a loose thread. Emmett exits the house and sits next to Russell. You embarrass me tonight. And Mom. Talking to them like that. Russell sighs and puts his head down in defeat. Look, I'm not going to pretend to know what you got going on, but you got to get it figured out. I will figure it out. I want to believe that. I do. But it's always the same. Since I was their age, you get in all these predicaments and end up dragging everyone else into it with you. Then someone else bails you out. Russell sighs. Those kids need that from their dad. And not getting it from you was hard for me. Good night, Dad. Interior, living room, night. Russell lays on the sofa. His eyes are open. He gets up and opens a closet door in the hall and enters. Interior, closet, night, continuous. Russell locks the door behind him. He clicks on a neon sign that reads, Happy Place. In the closet is a small desk with a computer, neatly arranged knickknacks, and a stack of mail. Russell thumbs through the stack of mail at the desk. He opens one from a credit card company. 15,000 line of credit in minutes. He ponders before throwing it in the trash bin. Numerous other envelopes read past due. He throws them into the trash and pulls a beer from a mini fridge under the desk. He cracks open the beer and clicks on a small radio. Good morning. It is a beautiful morning up in the Adirondack Mountains today. Is that how, Adirondack, right? Adirondack Mountains today. He leans back and looks at a photo of a serene lake house above the computer. Nice. A scenic lake. A setting sun. Blue skies. Sun is out. Looks like a perfect day ahead. Looks like a perfect day is ahead. Russell closes his eyes and can all but hear the chirping of the birds. He smiles and sips the beer. Cut to, Russell laughs at a cat video on YouTube. Cut to, Russell plays Candy Crush on the computer. Cut to, Russell intently arranging his knickknacks in perfect order. Cut to, Russell leans his head on one hand and drags the mouse around on the desktop, never clicking anything. He glances at a picture of him and his wife on the desk. Their smiles leap off the photo. He puts his face in his hands and sighs. He slams the keyboard. The computer screen goes black. Oh no. He presses the power button over and over. Nothing. Come on. The screen suddenly comes back to life and fills with gibberish coding. He furrows his brow. What the? He slaps the keyboard, but the computer has a mind of its own. The code stops and a website pops onto the screen. The title reads, Mulligan. If at first you don't succeed, die again. Russell peers at the screen. He moves the mouse down the site to the words, do you want to escape? Click yes or no. Russell hovers over yes, then clicks. It brings him to a new screen. Ever wish you could escape the woes of life without having to kill yourself? At Mulligan, we are the excerpts in pseudo side. Ooh. You die, and all your problems die with you, all while you live hidden from society and free from life's burden. The true easy way out. What the? A chat box opens up with a message from a user named D. Hello. Russell swallows. His hands hover over the keyboard. He types. Hello? The typing indicator pops up. Russell's eyes race back and forth. Do you want out? Who is this? Yes or no? Russell hesitates, unsure. What's the catch? Cost 10K? Russell hesitates. As Russell is about to type, D's typing indicator pops up. 181 Parkway Street. Tomorrow. Bring money. Ask for Lucy. Russell was about to type, but a third message comes. I was like you. Life didn't pan out how you thought. Don't know where you... Okay, this has to be cut. Yeah. No. Russell looks up at the lake house picture, then back at the screen. His hands hover over the keyboard. I can't. Your loss. Computer screen cuts to black. Yep. This goes away. D doesn't do this. This is too much talking. He gives him the address. I can't. Your loss. Computer screen cuts to black. This is going great though, Daniel. Interior office, morning. Russell sits at his cubicle with a large bag of rice on his desk. He stares blankly at his computer screen. Russell jolts as Jacob hands smack his back. Sup, buddy? Jacob sits on Russell's desk. Hey, Jacob. What's that bag of rice for? It's my sales report. Your sales report is a bag of rice? No, my son dunked my flash drive in milk. I'm just trying to dry it out. Good luck with that. Interior, Mr. Jameson's office, morning. Mr. Jameson sits at his desk sorting through files. Russell sits on the other side of the desk. Sir, about my report. You see, my son kind of dunked it in milk. Not quite sure why, so I don't have it. Mr. Jameson looks up from his papers. Exterior, behind office building, day. Russell carries a cardboard box of his work belongings to a dumpster and throws them in with an angry shout. Great. Russell has been fired. Very clear. Exterior, behind the office building, morning. Jacob and Russell lean against the wall, smoking a cigarette. What? Okay. So how's your mom been feeling? Not the best, but we're staying positive. Russell nods and puffs his cigarettes. How do we get here, Jacob? Where? Here. I mean, it just feels like every step of my life to this point has all been wrong. I wouldn't worry about it. Chose the wrong degree, wrong job, moved my family to the wrong house. Somehow I had freaking quintuplets when we weren't even trying. Owe money to the wrong people. Even my parents were wanting a girl, so somehow I got that wrong too. That is pretty bad. Russell puffs his cigarette and looks out at the mountains in the distance. You ever just want to escape, get away from it all, for good? Not really. I kind of just accept my failures at this point. I'll always fail somehow. It's who I am. Maybe it's who you are too. No shame in that. Okay, so this scene is a little weird for me. Because if he's getting fired, and also if this guy's kind of a jerk at the office, your sales report's a bag of rice, right? He kind of feels like a jerk off a little bit. It feels weird that he's then opening up with him after the firing. So my first feeling would cut this scene. Maybe it's something else. Maybe he talks to a different person. Maybe we give him some sort of friend in the opening scene. Maybe there's a friend who is also at this family gathering, so it's not just enemies. Like he has one friend that's like, oh man, it sure is crazy. Then they have a real heart-to-heart here. That's possible. Anyways, let's continue. We're on page 12 of 31. Interior, parking garage, day. Russell walks uphill to get to his car. Screech! A black Cadillac screeches to a halt beside Russell. Two men get out and grab him. What are you doing? They open the back seats and throw him in. Interior Cadillac day continuous. Russell's face is in the floorboards as the car drives down the street. I told you, Russell. Russell gets up and sits on the seat, his eyes tense. Where are you taking me? You'll work for me till you pay the debt. It should take a while considering what you owe. That little photo I gave you was the last guy who worked for me. You like it? Please, I have a family. Just give me a little more time. I'll pay you double. Fisher pulls out a miniature set of Newton balls. Do you like science? What? Fisher pulls back a Newton ball and lets loose, sending them in motion. Newton's third law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Cause and effect. You make a mistake, you face the consequences of that mistake. Whether you like it or not, you don't pay me back, you can work for me or die. Since I like you, I'll let you choose. Fisher hands the Newton balls to Russell. Here, a short-lived souvenir. Russell stares at Fisher. Fisher pops Tic Tacs in his mouth. I like what you're doing with the scene objects here. Yeah. Don't feel like you need to overdo it though. You could probably cut this. Oh, he hands him one too. Want one? Maybe. Okay. Maybe that works. Okay. Russell looks out the window. The car is on a small bridge over a river. He takes a deep breath and in one motion opens the door and rolls out. Exterior bridge day. Russell bolts across the oncoming traffic as horns blare. He vaults over the side of the bridge and into the water. Russell frantically climbs onto the bank and sprints into a public trail. You can have some, to make this longer and to make this feel a little more like a full beat, have reaction of Fisher here, right? Fisher screeches to a halt. Fisher gets out. Fisher, if he jumps over and frantically climbs to the bank, Fisher is looking out at him from the bridge, right? Add those shots here. Exterior neighborhood day. A soaking wet and out-of-breath Russell arrives to his townhome. He sneaks around the back bathroom window and slides it open. Interior bathroom. Russell descends from the window into the bathroom. Ronnie can be heard screaming from the other room. He cracks open the door and checks the hall before opening the closet. Still out of breath, Russell fumbles through the trash bin before pulling out the credit card mail. A smile lights up his face. He stuffs it in his pocket and does the same with the lake house photo. Exterior city street day. Russell runs his way down the sidewalk. 181 Parkway, 181 Parkway, 181 Parkway. Russell stops in front of a small building labeled 181 Parkway. Interior office building. Russell enters a small and neat waiting room with a front desk. He glances around confused. Can I help you? She smiles with a robotic smile. He approaches the front desk with hesitance. I'm here to see Lucy? Her smile is stuck on her face. Wonderful news. Please fill out these forms. She places the brochures on the desk and stares, smiling. Russell takes the papers and sits in a seat. The first brochure is titled Preferred Death Type and has 5 choices, each with a cartoon: suicide, car accident, fall, our most popular, animal attack, and other. That's fun. The next brochure is titled Preferred Living Location. It shows 3 choices with photos: city apartment, cabin in the woods, and beach shack. Please make payment now. Just an idea, because this is such like a big scene object. I love the scene object. I think she needs to take him to another room, right? The stuff on this form, I get that you're kind of making it like fun, or like it's a business with a connect card kind of thing. But definitely have them like go to at least out of reception. I feel like it simply adds more weight, right? And so then, please make payment now. They don't break eye contact, and Russell taps his card on the reader. She smiles. Right this way. Okay. Okay, well, maybe it works. I don't know. I feel like you can make the payment a little more gravitas, I think there's a potential room that she brings him in before the strange room. But let's see. I may be wrong here. Maybe wrong. Interior, strange room day. Russell stands beside 2 large metal tables in a room. Built into one wall are about 20 rectangular door compartments. A man with a clipboard and surgical mask enters. Please remove your clothes. What? Your clothes. Russell glances around. Are you Lucy? Lucy will be in shortly. He removes his clothes one by one and stops before the underwear. Those 2. Russell sighs and removes them. The doctor points to a scale in the corner. Russell steps on the scale. The doctor looks at the number and scribbles on his clipboard. Lie on the table. Russell climbs onto the table. The doctor takes out a tape measure and measures him from head to toe, then scribbles something on the clipboard. He walks to one of the compartments and slides out a metal tray from the wall. On the tray lies a dead man's body. What? The dead man has the exact hair color and style as Russell. Their face has much resemblance. The doctor looks at the clipboard. 85% match. He shuts the wall compartment and exits. Can I put on my clothes? Interior, strange room, day. Okay, so maybe you do that thing in the reception, but like maybe she locks the reception door or something. Like I feel like you want a little bit of a sense of when she hands him the brochure, they're already one level deep. Does that make sense? Interior, strange room, day. Russell sits on the table with his clothes on. He stares at the dead body. A woman enters with a touch tablet. Hello, Russell. I hope your experience here so far has been nothing short of amazing. She stares, smiling. Yeah, great. Are you Lucy? I'm afraid none of us are Lucy. It's merely a code we use. Okay, I was just lying naked next to a dead look-alike of me. I would like some clarity on this whole thing. Well, I'm happy you asked. This short orientation video will answer all your questions. She turns the tablet screen to Russell. A video starts playing with animations that dramatize what the narrator is saying. Hello, Mulligan client. At this point, you're probably wondering what's going on. Don't fret. In this short orientation video, you will learn all you need to know about your second chance opportunity. Russell looks up, and she smiles back. You've probably felt that death is the only way out. But what if there was a way to die without actually dying? At Mulligan, we provide the second chance our clients need by providing an all-inclusive death staging service. That way, they can live free, knowing none of their pesky life problems will ever come looking for them again. So how does it work? First, we acquire the bodies from the hospitals after they are already passed. Then, when a new client pays for our services, we find a body that is at least 80% matched to our client. Okay, this speech better be not super boring because we already had the doctor say this. Okay, if you're going to give me a big blocky wall of text, it's okay. But my goodness, this is almost a full page of dialogue. It better be freaking interesting, and it probably is only supposed to be this long, but I will continue reading. Where are we? At least 80% match that we already learned. Our team will even surgically match defects such as birthmarks, moles, or tattoos in order to get the best match. Once the body is chosen, our specialists stage a death based on the client's preferred death option. These death options typically leave the body dismembered to a degree that makes it 100%. This should probably be a character telling him this. Our certified in-house coroners will be first on the death scene. Our client can have peace of mind knowing that no other authorities can handle the body. This is fun. I like this, and I like this stuff. The coroner stuff. Yay! After this video, you will be picked up by van from Mulligan HQ and driven to your preferred living option. These beautiful preferred living options have graciously been donated by a wealthy benefactor. Once at the location, the driver will give you a new ID should you need it. Once at location, you must remain there. Don't say once at location twice, back to back. You are not allowed under any circumstance to contact anyone from your prior life at any time in the future. If you decide to, Mulligan has the right to expert. Yeah, this is reading just too legalese for me. This should be more movie, less legalese. I get the context though. You want to make it legalese to be kind of fun in that sort of dark context, but it still needs to be not too boring. Russell looks up and the woman smiles back. Isn't it just so informative? Why can't I contact anyone from my prior life? What? Okay, that seems like a strange question for him to be asking. Our methods for acquiring because it's like he's trying to escape his prior life, so why at this moment right now is he trying to contact anyone? I feel like he would want to do this later, after he's already signed and then he feels like he wants to. To contact anyone after the staged death is to put at risk the Mulligan service. If there isn't anyone you wish to call from your prior life, then I would contend the da-da-da. She smiles. Russell's phone buzzes. Caller ID says Mr. Fisher. He watches it ring, then breaks it in half. Yes. Are you certain Mulligan is right for you? Yes. Excellent. Your driver will be here in 15 minutes and will escort you to your new home. Thank you for choosing Mulligan. The woman exits. Exterior, cabin in the woods, day. Russell climbs out of the van. The van drives off as he takes in the new home. A cozy wood cabin surrounded by a bed of grass. To the right is a small pond. Russell takes out the now tatted picture that once hung in his closet. He unfolds it and holds it over the cabin. An exact match. Russell smiles. He glances at his new ID and his new name, Samuel. He takes out his wallet and slides out his old ID. He glances at it briefly before throwing it into the yard. He slides the new ID into his wallet and smiles. Interior, strange room, day. The doctor leads Claudia to a compartment in the wall. He opens the door and slides out a tray with a body that resembled Russell. Only this time, the face was shredded apart. Claudia covers her face, looks away, and nods. The doctor slides the tray back in. Interior, funeral home, evening. Remember, Claudia is his wife. A picture of Russell sits on an easel at the front as a reverend speaks on the stage. The Causley family sits solemnly in the pews. Interior, Causley townhouse dining room, evening. Claudia, Emmett, and his girlfriend sit around the dining room table sipping coffee while the kids play in the living room. It just doesn't make any sense. Dad would never get close enough to even pet a dog let alone be mauled by one. This is clunky. I know. You saw him? Claudia nods. Interior, cabin in the woods, evening. Samuel hangs up the picture of the lake house. Nice. I like this. He remembers the Newton balls from Fisher and places them on the dresser. He pulls the ball back and lets it rip. Click, click, click. You made a mistake. You face the consequences. You made a mistake. You face the consequences. Samuel throws a log into the crackling fireplace. He walks, he sits in a chair in front of the fire and sips from a coffee mug. Interior, cabin in the woods, morning. Samuel looks in a mirror sitting on a small dresser. He looks at his new ID intently. He looks up at the mirror and replicates his smile in the photo. Exterior, cabin in the woods, morning. Samuel sits on the porch in a rocking chair reading a book. He shoots his head up with wide eyes and gasps. Interior, cabin in the woods, morning. Samuel pilfers through a dresser and finds an oversized jacket and a hat. He throws them on and rushes out of the cabin on foot. Interior, convenience store, morning. Samuel enters the empty store. Samuel's eyes dart around and he pulls his hat over his face. He goes straight to the prepaid phone section. He grabs the first flip phone he sees along with 45 prepaid minutes card. Interior, cabin in the woods, morning. Samuel paces in his cabin with the phone to his ear. Hey, Jacob. Interior, office, morning. Jacob sits at the cubicle. Who is this? Interior, it's Russell. Jacob furrows his brow. Russell, aren't you dead? This is even more fun if you don't have the Jacob opening up scene. Like if you play him as the jerk off, and then we get I think this is even more fun here because he has to call this, or we'll see. Samuel continues to pace in the cabin. I need your help with something really quick. There was a funeral for you. Your family was there. They think you're dead. I can explain everything later, I promise. I'm kind of in the middle of something right now. Okay, as soon as you can, I need you to just go to my house. Tell Claudia you're just there to check in on her. While you're there, I need you to go to my closet. Take the hard drive from my computer and destroy it. What? Why? I just need you to trust me. I don't know, man. Jacob, please. I promise I'll explain it. I just need my friend on this. Fine. Just make sure no one else sees you and you can't tell anyone you talk to me. Jacob's boss approaches. All right, I gotta go. Bye. Interior, Cadillac day. What do you mean, dogs? He hates dogs. Fisher sits in the back of his Cadillac. Yeah, I'll head over there and see what I can figure out. Interior, social worker office day. Stephen, a social worker, sits at his desk reading questions. Emmett sits across from him. What is the financial situation at? Okay, this is kind of a weird. Always that first line of dialogue can be sticky. Hold on, I'm gonna grab some more water. I'm out. I've been slinging water reading these. Give me just a moment. Okay. All right. Stephen, a social worker, sits at his desk reading questions. Emmett sits across from him. What is the financial situation at the home? Hasn't worked in a few years. My dad was the only one who worked. Is she capable of working? Emmett nods. Well, our agency has a wonderful career center that specializes in helping out-of-job folks find a job. Is that something she'd be interested in? Yes, certainly. Anything will help. Okay, a family member of yours called. He said he thought you might be coming. Asked me to ensure that you receive all the information about our grief counseling services. What family member? What was his name? He said he was a fourth cousin or something. I didn't get the name. He said his phone was going to run out of minutes, so he hung up on me. Emmett perks up. Could you give me his number? Cool. Okay, so this seems a little flat, but this end piece actually is really nice. Which might just make the scene work. Exterior payphone day. Emmett leans against the payphone booth and punches in a number on the keypad. Interior cabin in the woods day. Samuel freezes as he watches his prepaid phone buzz. He slowly opens the phone and listens. Intercut. Hello? Samuel freezes. He knows that voice. Are you? The line gets disconnected. He sighs. Samuel exhales. Interior Russell's old closet day. Emmett opens the door to the closet. He glances around for anything off. He clicks on and off the neon sign. The family photo catches his eye. He picks it up to examine the smiling faces. Emmett puts the photo down and brings his attention to the computer's black screen. Emmett taps a single key and the screen pops on to the Mulligan website. Emmett furrows his brow and reads the site. His eyes well with tears and his brow turns to anger. He scribbles down the address and rushes out. Interior, Emmett's car, day. Emmett speeds through the streets. He punches a number on his phone. Exterior, Clossy townhouse. Jacob drives into the driveway. Interior, Clossy townhouse. Jacob nudges the front door left, cracked open by Emmett. Anybody home? No answer. Jacob enters the hall and opens the closet door. Exterior, Clossy townhouse, day. As Jacob walks back to his car, he notices a black Cadillac. Okay, so this just happens super quick. Okay. He notices a black Cadillac parked in the street. The back window rolls down and Fisher motions for him. Jacob hesitates. Fisher motions again. Jacob approaches the car. You knew Russell? Yeah, I do. You do or did? I did know him. Fisher squints his eyes. Jacob's phone rings with a song. Russell. Interesting. Jacob stares at Fisher and doesn't move. By the way, Daniel, this is awesome so far. You gonna answer it? No. What if it's important? It's not. Fisher throws Tic Tacs into his mouth. He points a pistol barrel at Jacob. One thing, just another pause, especially in script format, something that you do see a lot of pro writers do is like capitalizing something that's like an important turn on the page, just to emphasize like that noun and how that noun is changing the dynamic. So this, for example, would be a great point to capitalize pistol here, because this is an obvious dynamic shift, and Fisher showing Jacob what he's really on, right? Interior Cadillac day. Jacob enters the car. Believe it or not, this wouldn't be the first time a borrower faked their death to get out of paying me. Jacob is frozen, glancing at the gun. How about this? I'm feeling good today, so I pay you for what you know. Sound good? Jacob looks at Fisher. Fisher smiles. Jacob looks out of the window. How much? Fisher smiles. Exterior, Emmett's car, day. Come on, pick up. Interior, cabin in the woods, day. Samuel sits in front of his blazing fireplace. His phone rings. He hesitates, flips it open, and puts it to his ear. Intercut car cabin. Emmett hears the line pick up. Dad, I know. I found your computer. Samuel winces and puts his head in his hand. You left your wife and your kids. Made them believe you were dead. You think you can just go through life making a mess and expecting everyone to clean it up? Emmett wipes his eyes. Samuel's eyes darts around as he listens. You can change your name and where you live. It doesn't change who you are. You're just too much of a coward to face who you are. Samuel's face shifts to anger. He slams the phone shut. Ugh! Emmett's phone immediately rings again. Mom, honey. Interior, Clossy townhouse day. Claudia holds. This name is just so tough to read. Costly. Claudia, especially Claudia Costly, holds a phone to her ear. Her hand shakes. Her face is tense. Fisher sits at the table with his gun pointed at her. What is it? I'm in trouble. Come home. Please. Samuel whips the car into a U-turn. Interior, costly home, townhouse day. Emmett, just make it home. Townhouse. Oh, I'm trying to read. Emmett screeches into the driveway. Exterior, costly house. Emmett busts open the door. Mom? He stops in his tracks when he sees his mom in the dining room with Fisher. Thanks for joining us. Why don't you have a seat? Interior, cabin in the woods, day. Daniel, you're crushing right now. Samuel paces back and forth. His phone rings. He puts it to his ear. Jacob, where have you been? I've been calling you. Hey, Russell. Russell freezes. Interior, costly house, day. I have to say, I didn't think you were capable of a stunt like this. Interior, house and cabin. Intercut, house and cabin. Russell doesn't say anything. A nice guy by the name of Jacob gave me your new number. Told me everything. Of course, I paid him. He seemed pretty eager to give you up, though. I think he said something like, it's just who I am. Okay, no. I think he said you'd know what that meant. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, you can keep it. Russell scrunches his face in anger. I'm sitting in front of two beautiful people right now. One named Claudia and another named Emmett. You're on speaker. Say hi. Russell's mouth drops open. His eyes fill with tears. Please, don't hurt them. I don't have to, Russell. That's up to you. What do you want? I've always wanted the same simple thing. But seeing as you've made that very complicated, I've adjusted my desire. Again, since I like you, I'll let you choose. I'm listening. You can stay where you are, hidden in your little oasis. I'll take your son to work with me. It won't be pleasant for him, but I'll never bother you again. You can get what you wanted all along. But your family will know you were the man who was too afraid to face his life. Emmett watches the phone with a glare. Claudia shakes as tears come down her face. Or you can tell me where you are. I leave your family alone, and I deal with you. I don't have any interest in hurting your family, but I will if I must. Claudia sobs. I told you. There's always going to be a reckoning, no matter what. A few tears fall from Russell's eyes. Your family is listening. Do you have anything to say? I'm sorry for what I have brought on you. Russell holds back sobs. I've made so many mistakes. Emmett's expression softens. His eyes fill with tears. I just didn't want to admit that I failed, and I blamed you for why I didn't change. Fisher smiles. That's nice and all, Russell, but what's it going to be? Russell looks around the cabin, the peaceful quiet, the nature, his picture on the wall. He sighs. I'm 2 hours north of town, southernmost part of the Adirondacks. Long, windy road past a convenience store. You'll see a cabin by a lake. Russell shuts the phone and closes his eyes. Tears fall down. Interior, cozy townhouse, day. Claudia and Emmett exhale. Fisher exits the house. Emmett embraces his mother. Interior, cabin in the woods, day. Russell places his hand. You can definitely cut more of your adverbs. We don't need adverbs. Places his hand and nose to the wooden cabin wall. He closes his eyes and inhales. Russell goes to the fireplace, uses a fire prod to pull all the logs into the living room floor. The room begins to catch fire. He pulls back the Newton balls on the dresser and lets them go. Click, click, click. Russell exits the house as more of it catches fire. He walks to the far part of the green grass and finds his old ID. He opens his wallet and replaces the new one with the old. By the way, the best course, if you wanna really get better at like some of your he walks, he finds, he pulls, he begins to, he places, a lot of these kind of first thought verbs, these are all fine for a first draft. And Daniel, this script, the story is really nice. I like this a lot. There's definitely some tweaks and things you can make to really hone this to a final version. There's probably, I would love to cut this to get it, like if you could get this thing to 24 pages, that would be really clean. But overall, this is really, really nice. This is really working. It's very clear. So anyways, if you are interested, if you're someone on this stream, this is not a sponsored thing, but if you want more help with this kind of stuff, scriptfella.com. Scriptfella.com. This guy's a screenwriter, and he does a course that is this. So here's this is a good kind of example of what he does. He's very he calls it his molecular read, where he's getting all the way down to your single sentences and working on your verb choice, right? Begins to would be cut. It would be room catches fire, and then places, walks, finds, some of these first thought verbs. He's got a really good course on clarifying some of that in draft, action line, and dialogue language. So definitely check that out. And he's essentially talking about this, like finding better words for walks to, stands. A lot of these words are totally, for me, as I'm reading this as a first draft that you literally wrote within this week, great work. I love the story. This is great. And then if you want to take this further and really hone in that language, it's about finding more interesting verbs, more interesting nouns in your action lines. It creates a more readable script. And then he also has a lot of good stuff on dialogue as well. I haven't bought his course specifically. I did his coaching a while ago. So I did his kind of line by line read of a screenplay of mine. That was I don't know, maybe 2 years ago, almost 3 at this point. So yeah, Daniel, if you're watching this, I'm sure you will be, if you're not right now. You can check that out if you're interested, and anybody else who wants to. Yeah. Okay, the cabin is now fully ablaze. He stands in front and throws the new ID into it, watching it melt slowly. Just as he does, or just watching it melt. Just as he does so, the black Cadillac pulls up. And you could, caps this, right? The black Cadillac, if you wanted to. That's something you see a lot in pro scripts. Russell removes his gaze from the cabin. Fisher comes behind and presses the gun barrel to the back of Russell's head. Fisher props up some Tic Tacs into his mouth with the gun still trained on Russell. He extends the Tic Tac box to Russell. Want one? Russell looks down at the Tic Tacs and holds his hand out. Fisher dumps a few into Russell's hands. Russell pops them into his mouth. Fisher presses the gun to Russell's head. Russell closes his eyes. Bang! Cut 2. Interior cabin in the woods day. The fire consumes the cabin. The photo of the lake house falls to the ground as it dissolves to ash. The Newton balls still go on the dresser. Click, click, click. Fade to black. Daniel. Excellent work, sir. Excellent first draft here. I think you did a really good job starting with this outline and really making it your own, making the characters come alive. I think it's working nice. I think this is a draft of this that you could move into a polish phase, in the sense of you're not trying to add more scenes or more characters or any more major ideas. You are honing in action lines, honing in dialogue, and ideally, I would love don't force it to be too short, but if you could get this, 26 pages, 25 pages would be nice. I think there's just a touch faster momentum version of this. But overall, man, I really like this. This is a great script. You did a great job, Eden. Kudos. Yeah, fixing the coworker character. I would take out that one heart-to-heart scene. Thanks, Casey, for mentioning that. Yeah, again, my note is in the recording there, Daniel. So again, if you need this afterwards, you're trying to find the recordings are available at youtube.com/Tyler Mowery under the live tab. thank you to both of you. This is where you can find them under the live tab, youtube.com/TylerMowery. And I will drop that in the chat, just so you know. Oh, Daniel's here. Yes, thank you. No, dude, you're not struggling. Daniel, you're not struggling with word choice. You just wrote a first draft. This is just how first drafts look. No, but like, you didn't struggle. You did exactly what you needed to do, which was get the story down, right? Like, people act like you are going to have this whole perfect word choice the entire thing while you're also in the messiness of a first draft trying to get the main beats of the story down. Like that, it just doesn't happen that way. So you did a great job here. You can polish from here, right? So now this is a point where you actually have a story that's 85% of the way there, and you don't need to be thinking about new characters. You have a complete character web here. I really like how you did it. I really enjoyed this one. Very, very well crafted. Okay, let's see. Wormy Spoons asked me, how do I decide what scripts I'm going to review? Well, these were submitted based on last week's live stream, where we went from no idea to this scene to scene outline, and then I sent writers to write, and it seems that 2 writers submitted their projects to me directly in the submit project, and so therefore that's who we took a look at today. Casey says, I want to know how he was picked for the Mulligan. Is that in there? Did I miss it? His computer just ... glitched and took him there. Yeah, that's a great note, Casey. Let me find that again. That's okay. Strange Rooms. Where's the... Okay, yeah. So yeah, he puts his face in his hands and sighs. He slams the keyboard. The computer screen goes black, and then when it comes back to life, it fills with gibberish coding, and then this comes up. Yeah, that's it's definitely a little bit convenient, Daniel. I think Casey, who is in the Discord right now, Casey says, I was looking for shadier stuff, web pages with porn banner ads, clickbait, maybe on some message board, something like that. Yeah, I think there's, Daniel, I think on this point, you can kind of send our character down into a dark part of the internet in a more natural way, right? Like that, whether that's through a dirty site, whether that's through something else. He gets some sort of pop-up ad or something. So, yeah. Yeah, Wormy Spoons, we're not reading your 75-page first draft about vampires and Vikings. I'm specifically doing scripts written off of the ideas that we build in this live stream. Casey says, I wouldn't even be against this company finding their marks somehow. What do you mean? Oh, finding their marks, right? So they're finding people that are, right. So you're saying like he gets like some guy in a top hat and a raincoat, hands him a business card and says, check this out. Or digital style. Yeah, I guess that's the question, right? What is the digital style of the Mulligan man in the top hat handing you the business card in the rain? You know, what is the digital version? Because I think that's a fun, creative question to ponder, Daniel. Yeah, Wormy Spoons. I'm gonna keep doing this. It's gonna be it's gonna be a rotating schedule. So it's gonna be 1 week we create an idea to an outline. Next week we read scripts, back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. Daniel says, were the emotional parts too corny, like scenes where the protagonist was talking about his failures or when other characters were talking about it? I think for the most part, you did a pretty decent job of keeping that where you needed to. Like, it wasn't over the top. But again, there's that one scene with Jacob I think you need to fix. Where is it at? Yeah, like this scene here, where they're leaning against a wall smoking a cigarette. I think you might drop this piece entirely. And that's going to be helpful because then you also save like a page here. I think you can either drop this piece, or I had a note again earlier in this recording or earlier in this live stream where I said maybe if you really loved Russell freaking out, like, I think you might be able to drop it, but if you really want to just emotionally nail where he's at here, you could give him an ally, maybe like another father or something in the opening scene when everything is crazy. And they don't even talk that much in the opening scene. It's just like, hey, these guys are friends. And then you bring that character back rather than Jacob. Because I kind of like the idea that Jacob is like not really his friend. Daniel says, thanks for the notes, Casey. Casey also says, people get wrong. Casey's saying he does not have a problem with the emotional parts. He says, people get raw and sappy when they're in a corner, no options. So I'm good there. Yeah, I think you can keep that in. I would just reframe this Jacob-Russell relationship a bit. Really, really good work, both of you. Anshuman and Daniel, thank you guys. You guys were the first to take up the challenge. Let me see here. What is this? I was sent another script. I don't know if it's one from what we made or not. Let me see. It doesn't really seem like it. Leave my stage. VCL's in the car. Yeah, no, I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, Daniel, for sure. Thank you so much for submitting. This was super, super good. Cool. So then next week, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be back to a new blank short script framework. And I'm going to be taking in ideas from you. I'm going to come in just like I did last week, completely blank page. No previously thought out ideas. I'm going to take ideas from you, and then I'm going to kind of sift through the best ones. We'll pick a story idea, outline it out, and then we will run this exercise again. And yeah. And also, just so that you all know, if you guys write something off of this and decide you want to go and make it, you totally can. So don't feel like you need to be like, oh, well, I used an outline that we built as a live stream. Like, you can go and go forth, be free, be creative. Circus Tunes, can you ask me a more specific question? Your question feels super vague. The short answer is yes. Awesome, guys. Cool. I hope you guys are not missing my cam, that webcam much. I really am preferring not using the webcam. So, this has been great. I'm loving this. Thank you guys, for real, for actually doing the writing. Because if you guys hadn't written something, we would not have had anything to review. And so both of these are well done. Both of them have some things that can be worked on. And that's the nature of writing. Thank you guys for writing these first drafts in a week. I'll see you all next week. We will start with a new idea. And we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when these streams happen. I do not plan on changing that time anytime soon. I stream once a week, and I stream at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All right. Bye, everybody. I love you. Be well.